Hello and welcome to the Australian Institute of Architects Benchmark Suite webinar. Today we will run through the process of registering for the Australian Institute of Architects project and also the benchmarking application. To register for the project, navigate through to the Architecture.com.au website and then through to the benchmarking page. On the benchmarking page, you will see that there is an email address, membership@architecture.com.au, that you can send through your contact details to, and you will then receive the relevant links to register for the project. Once you have clicked the link and registered for the project, you will be able to access the benchmarking application with your new login details. The benchmarking application can be found at this URL address, which will be provided as part of the email that comes from the Australian Institute of Architects. To access the application, simply enter your username and password and click Login. Once you have logged into the application, you will be able to select the industry for benchmarking. Simply click the Other Professionals drop-down and then the Architects industry. The next question asks if it's an exact industry match, which it will be. Click Next to continue. Then you can enter your business name and click Next. From here you can select the financial year that you would like to benchmark, whether or not you're entering budget data, and you can also fill out your contact details as well. Click Continue and you will be taken through to the data entry page. The data entry page consists of three main sections. Business details, which looks at location, services offered, size and structure of the business, ownership, client base, regions where you operate, outsourcing, and also growth and personnel. We then have the profit and loss section, and finally the balance sheet. As we were scrolling down that page, you might have noticed that there are a number of import buttons. Users can import the profit and loss and also the balance sheet. Let's quickly review how to import a profit and loss sheet. Click the import button and then select your import method. Users can bring data in from Excel or CSV files, or they can connect directly to the Xero accounting software. The process to bring data in from Xero is quite simple. Simply click the button here and you will be taken through to the Xero login page. Log in, authorize the data that you would like to bring in, and then you will arrive back at step 5 within our mapping tool. To bring data in from CSV or Excel, click the button and then you will need to copy your data into this paste area. So let's open up a file and bring some data in. So here's just a sample profit and loss file that I have, and we can just highlight the label and the data columns, copy, and then paste this information into the paste area. You'll then need to nominate which cells or which column relates to the labels and which relates to the data. Once you've made those selections, you can press the next button. So this will take you through to step 5, where you can basically bring your data, which is over on the right hand side of the screen, into the Benchmarking.com.au questionnaire on the left hand side. To do this, we simply click on a cell, drag and drop the item into the cell in the benchmarking questionnaire. And so we just complete this process all the way down the page. And so I'm just dropping this into any old cell. It's just a sample file that I have. And if you're wondering what you've placed into a cell, you can simply click on that reference and you can see what is related as it will be highlighted over on the right hand side of the screen. Now, if you want to remove an item from a cell, simply click X and it will remove the item. If you want to drag it then and assign it to another cell, you can do so. Simply work down the page and assign all of the items that are required from your questionnaire into the benchmarking questionnaire. And you can actually drop multiple items into one cell and it will just add them up for you. So you can do that for as many cells as you like as you work your way down your profit and loss. So I'll just drop in a couple more items here so that we can see. Again, this is just a sample file that I have. Not getting this 100% spot on, but you'll get an idea. So we'll click submit, and this will return us back to the data entry page. Only now we'll have some data imported for the profit and loss section of our questionnaire. So as you can see here, that data is now flowing through. So if we scroll back up the top of the page, we can start to, now that we've got some data in the system, we can start to look at some benchmarks. So click the benchmark tab, and what our system will do is essentially crunch all of the data from the data entry page into key performance indicators that you can then compare against our benchmarks. So to look at some benchmarks, simply click the drop-down header, and then you can select the different items that you would like to compare against. So we produce a number of breakdowns. We have breakdowns by turnover, net profit per principal, location, and also other. So you can work your way down the page, and so what we'll do first is insert the all practices, which looks at the average of all of the businesses in our sample, all of the architect businesses that is. And then we can go and perhaps look at some close matching turnover benchmarks. So here we're turning over 630k in this example, so we'll slot in a close fit there. And maybe you want to turn over a little bit more, so you want to aim your targets a little higher, so we'll go for a slightly higher turnover benchmark and analyze the differences. So that's just a quick way to select the benchmarks there. This file obviously doesn't have too much data, so what I'll do is open up a sample business that actually contains a bit more data so that we can review the remaining tabs in full. Okay, so now we've opened up a file with some sample data. You can see that this business in 2016 has turned over just over $3.3 million, and we can start to run some analysis against some similar benchmarks. So here we'll go and drop in a close matching turnover, and I've also placed in a high profit benchmark as well. So as you select your benchmarks, they will just be produced all the way down the page for all of the different items that we're looking at. We will now click through to the Trends tab. The Trends tab contains Australian Institute of Architects sample data from the previous year. It contains results of different areas that we have analysed based on the data entry. The Feedback tab contains traffic light indicators and also feedback comments that will give you an insight as to the performance of your business. Review each of the different feedback items to learn how you can possibly improve each element of your business. The Graphs tab consists of 8 graphs. Each graph will have 4 columns. The 4 columns marry up with the selections made within the Benchmark tab. So you will note in the first graph here, looking at income per labour hour, the first column is Your Business 2016, and then we have our selection for all practices turnover, or the all firms average, and then our turnover selection for $3 to $6 million, and finally the net profit per principal of 500k or more. So each of the graphs, as you scroll down the page, you will be able to review your different results, and then click Next. The ATO tab contains the Australian Taxation Office benchmarks. As you review this image, you will see that we have all of the different ATO benchmark ranges. The benchmark application will slot in your results to the relevant turnover column, and then compare each of your results against the benchmark ranges that have been set by the ATO. Click Next to continue. Here we have the Action tab. The Action tab contains different strategies that a business owner can apply to improve their business. Each of these items are static and they're not produced based on your results, unlike the Feedback tab, where each item is selected based on your results against a certain target. The Statistics tab looks at some Australian Bureau of Statistics data, giving a broad view of the architects industry and also the sector in which the industry is involved. The valuation questionnaire allows users to conduct a desktop valuation of their business. This questionnaire is completely separate to the data entry page, as we have to capture up to 3 years worth of financial data within the system. The questionnaire is also a lot shorter. We simply ask for total sales, net profit before tax, and the various profit adjustments on the business. Hover over the question marks to understand what you need to enter into each of the cells. Profit adjustments allow for the business to be normalized. So if there are any extreme items that need to be deducted, this is where you will enter them in. Finally, you will need to select a weighting. The standard weighting is 3-2-1. However, if business operations were somewhat out of whack in a year, you might want to change this to put a greater importance on a different financial year. So for example, if our most recent current financial year result was abnormal, we might want to apply a lower multiple to this particular year and apply a higher multiple to the previous financial year to help normalize this result. Once you have made your selections, fill out the 2 balance sheet questions and click Next. This will take you through to the Biz Value page, where some final parameters are required. If you are simply valuing your business and not selling the business to a prospective buyer, you need to assume a reasonable person of interest. So what is a normal investment payback period for someone that was going to purchase your business, what tax rate would apply, and so on. Hover over each of the question marks to learn more about the different entry points. Once you have completed all of the cells, you will be able to see your business value. You can play with the different items that you have entered in to reduce or increase the risk of the purchase, and this will have a dramatic impact on the business value. The final tab in the application is the ratio definitions. Here you can learn more about each of the questions that we were asking and what goes into producing our key performance indicators. Once you have completed all your data entry and selected your benchmarks, you might want to produce a report. To do this, click Print. You will then be able to select the different sections that you would like to include in the report. So for example, if you would like to remove, let's say, the data entry section or the valuation questionnaire, you can simply uncheck each box and then click Submit. So this will produce the report now. I'm using Google Chrome today. We highly recommend that you use Google Chrome or Mozilla Firefox with the benchmarking application. Once your report has been generated, it will appear in the bottom left-hand side of the screen or as a pop-up window asking you to open or save the PDF document. Click the document to open up the report. You will then find all the different sections that we have just produced in the application being produced to the report. I'll close down this tab now and return to the benchmarking application. The benchmarking application also has a data review function. Simply click the data review button and then hit Submit in order to push the data review to our analysts. Our analysts will pick up your data review request at the other end, and we will look for any anomalies within your data entry and come back to you with a quick email or phone call to discuss. If you complete more than 80% of your questionnaire, a data review will automatically be submitted to our analysts. Finally, if you would like to return to your questionnaire at a later date, You can log out of the system at any time and your data will be stored. Otherwise, you can navigate back to your dashboard. From the dashboard, you can click to open up your record and then open the relevant financial year. Here I have created a couple of financial years. So if you return to complete our questionnaire year on year, you will actually be able to just click the record that you would like to review, or you will actually be able to add an additional year to continue on adding data. This concludes the Benchmark Suite webinar. If you have any questions, please feel free to contact us at inquiries@benchmarking.com.au. Thanks for watching.